Hey, I'm your host, Bree Wild, and this is Marquee Memories. Here we sit down with your favorite artists to talk about their top concert memories as fans. Today's guests are just weeks away from releasing their debut album, Ode to the Grey House. From Nashville, Edgehill. Hi, welcome.
How's it going? Thanks for having us.
I want to talk about Love to Go.
Yes.
It's my favorite song of the year. I know it's only January, but... So that was your most recent release, but it's the second song you ever wrote, and it's been a staple in the setlist for a while.
Yeah.
Was it hard to capture the live energy and get it into the recording how you wanted?
Took us like 5 times.
Yeah.
So this is like the 5th or 6th iteration of it.
Oh, really?
And it just never felt right. So it was, difficult for sure.
Well, it turned out great.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're stoked with how it turned out. I mean, we recorded it it was like one of the first songs we ever recorded, and then we did it again and again and again and again.
I think it just got less and less polished, and that was like the key, I think, to it coming across how we wanted it to.
Yeah. So is it pretty close to how you perform it now? Does it?
The way we did it was we did it not to a click or anything, and just like
Speeds up and slows down a lot.
Yeah, and we wanted to keep that live energy in it. So it's pretty much exactly how we play it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for your debut album to come out?
So excited.
Very excited.
Pumped, dude.
Yeah.
It's been like a year of sitting on it and working it, and like last night we did a listening event at a studio in LA, and like invited some people to come, and just to have like people, like a group of people ingest it all at once felt like so cool. Like just what we've been itching to do. So
Nice. Tell me a little bit about the house tour that you did last year.
yeah, we started playing house shows like in Nashville. Was kind of like our first ever show was a house show. It was like a really big scene there, and we had done some opening slots for people for a while, and just like really wanted to kind of do our own like little headline thing. We'd gotten like a little tired of like venues being like sterile a bit, and which is funny because we went on this house show tour and then we were like, God, I want a green room so bad. But we put something out in our story, and just like
Nice.
people slid up, and we routed this little thing, and it was really awesome. It was like kind of our first ever like headline experience. We made a lot of friends with the people who were hosting. It was great. Yeah.
Cool. Shall we get into these memories?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Dave Matthews, 2022 at the Gorge in Washington.
Dave Matthews Band at the Gorge in Washington, 2022. Yes.
Amazing venue already.
Yes, it's like the best place ever.
Okay,
that
so
I've been to.
set the scene.
I grew up listening to Dave and going to concerts in Indiana. That's where I'm from. My parents are huge fans, so we would go see them. They play like 2 nights every summer, so we would go see them there. And my brother and I are huge fans now, and so our dream was always to go see them at the Gorge, because like that's the place. They play 3 nights there. Everyone camps out and like is all in the same place, just hanging out with each other. So that was like our dream to go there. And so in 2022, we finally were just like at the beginning of the summer, like no matter what, we're going. And so we saved up money, and like when we got there, we almost couldn't even make it there because my brother, he couldn't get the rental car under his name, and then I had to put it under my name, but I didn't have enough money. And then, so it was we almost didn't make it. And then we finally got there. We showed up with just like a styrofoam cooler and a tent. And so we were not prepared at all. But like the first night we got there, just being able to see the stage from our campsite, our minds were blown. Like we never thought we would even see it. And so then like the first show night was amazing. Just going up the hill and then seeing the venue down below was like, every time you do that, it's so beautiful and amazing. And then the set lists were great all 3 nights, and yeah, it was just one of the coolest times, and like a great time with my brother too, because like we had nothing, and like all of our neighbors were cooking food for us because we only had like peanut butter sandwiches and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Kind of a community feeling, though.
It is, yeah. I mean, everyone's just camping, hanging out, and listening to Dave all weekend.
I didn't realize that was your first time, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you'd been going for so long for some reason.
No, not to the Gorge.
That's so sick.
Yeah, but now we go every year, and now like my girlfriend comes, and my dad and my mom just went for the first time this year.
Nice.
Yeah, and my sister goes, so it's like a whole event now.
So it's definitely like a travel to, like people planned for it.
Oh yeah. We didn't, but people do.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Some people have for it.
Yeah.
What about, so have you been since?
Yes. Yeah, we've been
Were you
every
better
year.
prepared the next time?
Yes, and so the next year it was just me, my brother, and my dad, and so the difference this time was we bought camping chairs, so we didn't have to sit on the grass.
That was the difference.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, well, because you can't even like rent camping chairs there, which like that should be a thing. But yeah,
Do they sell food there?
yeah. There's like it's kind of like a gas station, but they have food, and they also have like coffee shops and little food trucks on the campsite.
Like a normal festival?
Yeah,
So what does the set list look like for a 3-night Dave Matthews?
Well, that's like the best part. It's every night it's different, not a song repeated, and every time they play a song it's different, so you never know what you're going to get, and it's always about like the hunt to see the best set list and see like the one song that you've been chasing. So, yeah.
Did you get to see a song that you
We did. So, our favorite song, like my brother and I's favorite song is You Never Know by them, and they played it, I think it was the first night they played it, like in the middle of the set. And then also, my favorite song that I have never heard, and they hadn't been playing it for a long time, was American Baby Intro, and they opened up with it the first night, and it was like the coolest moment ever.
So you hit the bar the first night.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
all right.
Yeah,
But still, I got 2 more.
exactly, yeah.
That's amazing. So you said your parents were fans. So you
Yes.
became fans. They introduced you to them.
Yeah, they're like one of those bands that's like super nostalgic. Anytime I listen to it, it just brings me back to like my dad playing it like in the summer and like by campfires and stuff. And so that's really special. And then like in high school is when I like actually got into them myself and fell in love with Carter Beauford. He's an amazing drummer and just found a ton of inspiration in him. So yeah.
Would you say you're like a pretty hardcore fan? Like you know
Oh, yeah.
all of the songs?
How many shows have you been to?
I've been to I think 42.
Okay.
So yeah,
Pretty big fan.
Pretty big fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a few tattoos as well.
Oh, yeah?
Nice. Are there any songs you're chasing that they've never played yet?
42 shows.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But there's a lot of songs,
There's a
right?
lot, and there's a lot of songs that he would play in the '90s that he's never going to play again. Which would be amazing to see. And also, like any song from his solo album that they don't regularly play, if like when Dave and Tim play just acoustic, they'll play some songs from that. But they've never really brought some of them full band, and if they do that, it'd be really cool. And I feel like everyone now is chasing that because like I feel like Dave and Tim have been hinting more and more that like bringing those songs out more. So it's like I feel like the whole fan base is like pushing for it to happen, and it might.
Do you think Dave like looks in the subreddits or anything, or like
No, I don't
takes
think
any
so.
suggestions? Or he's just like, this comes from my own mind.
I think he even said in an interview once, like, because fans will like hold up posters like play this song, and he's like, no, I never take requests. So it's like if he sees a request in the crowd, and he's like, well, you're lucky because it is on the set, but I'm not changing it for that. Yeah.
Do you remember any other moments from that show that particularly stood out to you?
Oh yeah. Well, so on the third night there was a drone show too, and like no one knew it was going to happen. And so Leroy Moore, their saxophone player, died, and so they played a song called 34, which is just an instrumental, and it's like saxophone's a heavy feature on it. And on the drone show, it like showed his face up there, and it was like really, really cool. It was a special moment.
What do you like about Dave Matthews as a performer? Like what magic you want to take from him and make your own?
I think, and similar with Jake, because he's a deadhead, just like the spontaneity of every show and bringing that into every performance and aspect of songs, like trying to change them up or just feeding off the energy night to night is like a really, really cool thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Should we move on to Young the Giant 2019?
Young the Giant at the Norva in Norfolk in 2019.
Set the scene for us.
Yeah, so I'm from Charlottesville, which is funny because that's where Dave
Yeah.
formed. And we have like a bunch of random Dave connections. It's like the first thing we ever talked about when we met. I'm from Charlottesville, and my friend's dad actually got me into Young the Giant. I was raised on like more singer-songwriter like John Mayer, James Taylor, pretty much no like distortion or bands really in general. So they were kind of the first like alternative act that I heard, and I was like, whoa, this is really sick. And I was in a band at the time, but we were kind of just playing the songs that the guitar player in the band's dad wanted us to play, like, because we would practice at his house, and he kind of like formed the band, and we were like, I don't know, we started in like 7th or 8th grade, and we were playing a lot of like Foo Fighters and like bunch of stuff I now think is super sick. At that point in time, I was like, dude, like what are we doing? But Young the Giant was one of those first bands that like I heard that I was like, okay, I'm really into this band thing, and I had listened to their Young the Giant, like the self-titled album a lot, and they had just come out with Mirror Master, which I think wasn't like a huge commercial success for them, but it's just this really cool, has like some like psychedelic elements, like super reverbed out. And my friend's dad and my friend had tickets, and they had an extra ticket. They asked if I wanted to go, so I was like, of course. Like at that point, I'd never really been to a concert for an artist that I really, really like loved. It was always kind of like an opportunity would come up where someone had an extra ticket to like any band that I'd like heard of, like Fall Out Boy.
Tag along.
Like, right, yeah, I'll just go. It's a concert. This one I was super stoked for, and I like listened to the album like front to back so many times before, so I knew every song. And it was like a 1,500 cap venue. I remember it feeling like so massive when I was there, and one of the big standouts like before the show even was seeing like their tour bus and like their vans and everything, and just thinking like having this like dream like right then and there of like I want to be like traveling playing music, like this just seems like such a dream. And we got there. The opener was Sure, which is like this kind of like very indie like total like 2018 2019 indie staple, and they were great. And the show was just like magical. Like I remember I was like kind of in awe the whole time. The lead guy, Samir, I think is his name, he has like an incredible voice, and I've always been drawn to bands with like somebody, the lead singer has like a really special, powerful, like vibrato, emotional voice. So seeing him live was unreal. I also remember that was one of the first shows I really paid attention to, like they were running tracks, but they were like running, actually, I don't think they were running like tracks in like in a way like to account for something that wasn't there. They were more like hitting a pad to make like something happen, like very like electronic vibes for some of the songs. And yeah, I was really just kind of like honed in, and every like synapse in my brain was firing, was like, this is like definitely what I want to be doing.
So you're there as a fan, but also kind of studying it.
Yeah. Which I think I hadn't really gone to concerts in an intimate enough like venue to do that, like, and to see what they were really doing.
Yeah. So what do you like about their shows that, you have to take for yours?
I think they just like, there's no like smoke and mirrors, like no BS or anything. They were just a band playing. He also, the way he talked to the crowd was super honest, and it was just them playing their music, which like really just felt so cool. It didn't necessarily feel like I was going to some arena show or something I'd been to before. It felt like just like a really cool, like authentic thing. And also just his voice is insane. Like I was just in awe of
What's
how good
Young
he
the
is.
Giant's biggest song, is it?
Cough Syrup, I think. Life's too short to even care at all.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it has a very soothing sort of
It does, yeah.
voice,
It's really emotional melodies, which I've always loved about that. That song, what else is really big for them? A song called Apartment's really good. My Body was a big thing
That's
on radio.
one I think. Yeah, that's the one.
My body tells me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on my workout playlist because that's when I hate working out. It's like, my body's on
But I won't quit.
Yes. Yeah. Very motivational.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's sick.
Have you seen them since?
No, actually, that was the only time. I feel like that kind of like sparked my interest in bands, and then it kind of like grew from there, and I stopped listening to them as much as I did then. It was like a very heavy phase, but yeah, I started going to more like, well, still even before college, I wasn't going to a ton of local shows of bands that were like coming. I didn't really like pay attention to bands' touring schedules or anything. I would go to stuff when there was an opportunity, but like when I moved to Nashville for college, I got like this app. I think it's Songkick. It's called Songkick, and it like lets you like. Are you familiar? It lets you like, yeah. So
whatever you listen to, it's like, hey, they're coming to town.
Yeah. And which I thought was a cool thing. And also, every artist I ever listened to comes to Nashville. Like everybody comes to Nashville.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I really started like going to a lot of stuff and seeking it out, and totally changed everything.
So when you saw the show, you weren't in a band yet.
I was in the band I was in the band, but I think like I kind of felt like we were just a band to be a band. You know, like it just kind of felt like we were gonna play music together.
Become anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Oh, I heard you name drop Fall Out Boy casually. You just went to a Fall Out Boy show?
Yeah. Same situation. It was this kid's parents. Like, we're like, we have extra tickets. And I was like, cool.
So you got to go to a lot of... Did you start going to shows when you were, like, pretty young?
So I guess I was going to a lot of, like, writers' rounds and stuff. Like, my dad writes music on the side of his normal job. And he was always like, a really big inspiration for me. And I would see him play at breweries and wineries, like, all the time, like, multiple times a month. So I guess those were shows.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my first show was in like 4th grade. It was like fun. It was like a fun concert. Yeah.
That was your first show?
Yeah. I know.
Just went.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool first show.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Is it you? I read a couple of interviews, and was it you who said like music is so ingrained in you it never would have, like, of course you're gonna end up in music.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt.
Yeah, my mom is a music teacher too. So like, there was never really a time where it wasn't a huge part of my life. You know, like it wasn't like a decision to get into music. It was like always
Obviously.
a big part of my life. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about like this is what I should do. It was more like I'm doing that. Like this is what I'm doing.
This is just in my blood.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool.
Thanks for reading the interviews. That's pretty cool.
Of course. Did you like the Fall Out Boy show?
Yeah, it was sick. It was in an arena, so it was kind
No
of
pressure.
hard. No, it was sick. I like knew like the 3 songs that I knew. And
Sugar,
it was cool.
We're Going Down.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But it was sick.
Cool. Shall we go to Dead & Co?
Yes, let's do it. Dead & Co. City Field, New York, 2019.
Set the scene for us.
I had just gotten into the Dead at college and was home. This was my first Dead show ever. Like, had convinced a few of my friends from back home to get on the train with me and come see this band that I was super into, but none of them were like had like gotten on the bus yet, so to speak. And it was crazy because earlier that month I went into the city to go to the Met, where they had at the time an exhibit of all like famous rock instruments throughout history, and Jerry Garcia's Wolf guitar was on display. And I remember going and seeing it and being in awe that I was standing 3 feet in front of it behind glass, and like listened to so many shows from that, played on that guitar, and just felt really in awe of the history. And then fast forward later that month and getting on the train, going to the show. It's like an hour train ride, so you have really like a lot of anticipation and build up before you're getting there. The whole train, every stop people get on, there's more tie-dye getting on, and everybody's just talking to each other. It's a really like friendly like fan base, and everybody's just so happy to be doing this together. And you get there and you go to the lot beforehand, just a big parking lot filled with like dozens and dozens of vendors selling t-shirts or like bacon wrapped hot dogs and grilled cheese and balloons and anything you could think of going on in the lot, and everybody's just wandering around, and I'd never seen anything like it before or felt any, like there was like this electricity in the air when you were walking around, and it felt like I was like herded into the stadium when it was time and just like shuffled and like take your seat. And then I remember they came out and John Mayer was holding Wolf, the guitar that I had just seen like in the museum. He'd gotten it out of the Met, which was like crazy to me, and proceeded to blow my mind for the next 3 hours. So it was my first Dead show, and it got me hooked permanently after that. I think I went to 10 more after that.
Okay. What about like your expectations versus what it turned out to be?
I don't think anything could have like prepared me for what it was going to be. I mean, I'd listened to so many Grateful Dead shows that have been recorded. I've worked at a golf course, and like a lot of times you just pop in your earbuds and turn on pick a random year and a random show and put it on, and everyone was so different, and nothing could have like let me know what that was going to be like. And I was just, the electricity and the energy was what I was expecting, but there's no part of the show could have predicted like how it was going to make me feel. So in that sense, it was exactly what I was expecting.
Did you chase songs the way the Dave Matthews did? Is there a certain song?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like me and 2 of my best friends from college started going to Dead & Co shows every year, and we always play a game of like guess the set lists, and we'll put like money, like $1 per song, right? Like $2 if it's in the right order, like 2 in a row, like bonus point if it's in set 1 or set 2, like bunch for the encore. Like that's always a big
Make a game of it.
Yeah, and then there's always the balance of like you're looking at like last night's set and you're like, well, they're not going to play any of those songs because they never play like a song 2 nights in a row. And yeah, it's a big part of it is like being super excited to see what they're going to do and pull out and what transitions they're going to do. And at this point, I think I saw almost every song I wanted to see through the 10 shows. A couple escaped me, but I'll have to catch them sometime, but without Bobby.
Yeah. Did that news affect you when you heard?
Oh yeah. I was really. I mean, there have been like artists I really admire who have died in recent years, but nobody was affecting my life currently the way that Bob Weir was, because every year, maybe sometimes twice a year, I congregate with my friends and we just go to see him, and this amazing community that forms around him and follows him everywhere. And it was such a privilege every time to just feel like a part of that for a couple days. And I just it felt like he was going to keep doing that forever. So it was really shocking to hear that. And
because he's playing shows right up until the end.
Yeah, I went to those last shows in San Francisco, which I'm so happy I did. There was I almost didn't make it out there. We had a show the next day in Boston, like for us, and I was the day before in San Francisco seeing the Dead and had to catch like a 5 a.m. flight or something to make it there. And I almost didn't go because it logistically wasn't going to work. And I'm so happy I made it.
But yeah, I bet you're super happy you made it. Oh
yeah.
My gosh. How did you get introduced to them? What made you start listening to them?
Freshman dorm room activities, I would say. I don't know, something. I had a friend named Krishna who was a big Deadhead, and I had heard their music before growing up. Like, my dad liked a few songs, but he wasn't like a Deadhead per se. And he heard their radio hits, like Uncle John's Band and that sort of thing. But I never really understood it at all. And then there was just one time where it clicked for me, and I feel like that's become a common theme in a lot of the bands I like. Is it takes something to unlock it, and then once you unlock it, it's you love it forever.
Yeah.
And something about listening to it was Ship of Fools that made it click for me. And once I got it, I got everything, and it was wow. I have a catalog of 300 songs and 1,000 shows to listen to now.
Yeah,
which was great.
That's so cool. How would you describe the Deadhead community, and how do you finally feel like you're a part of it?
It's just a very accepting and loving group. When you're there, you just know you're all sharing something together.
Is it multi-generational?
Multi-generational, and I don't think the generations matter. There'll be a joint passed down a row, and it's there'll be a 70-year-old dude sitting next to me, and he's passing me a joint, and I'm you're all just there to experience the same thing, and you're also just grateful to be there.
Yeah.
I don't think anything else matters other than you're there to experience the same lightning in a bottle moment together.
I would also say from what I've seen, I've never been to a Dead & Co show, but whenever someone talks about being a Deadhead, I'm always oh, my friend Jake's a Deadhead.
And then you can talk for hours.
And then you talk forever. You talk forever.
It happened last night.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it happened last night. Oh, did you see this show? And you just go down. Oh, I love this. Yeah, and it's.
So even outside of shows, there's a crazy community, and everybody wants to talk about it.
The other day, I was wearing a Dead & Co hoodie when we were in the airport picking up a rental car here, and the guy next to me in line was I think I was a Grateful Dead fan before you were ever born. And then we started talking. It's he told me about how he played pool with Jerry Garcia once when he was living in Berkeley. So things like that pop up. You wear a Dead shirt somewhere, and you'll find a friend somewhere, which is cool. Which is really cool.
What about them and their show? I guess that it's the spontaneity.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, the sense of watching something being created is a really magical thing to me. And I think it's very rare to get to witness that sort of creativity, and they're geniuses for having been one of the pioneers of creating that experience for people. I think it's a similar experience to watching a documentary of your favorite artist making an album, but that's all carefully curated, and they're recording it, and you get to watch them come up with these ideas and create it. But with the Dead, you're watching it happen in real time right in front of you, and it only gets better the more you listen, because you start understanding they haven't done this before. This is really new. You start getting a sense for when they're going off the rails, or when it feels like a little bit dangerous, or like they might not know how to like rein it in, and you feel that excitement with it. And it's something that only like grows over time, the deeper and deeper you get into it, because it feels like you're right there with them.
Yeah, I guess each show feels special.
Oh yeah, like
you would go see them in succession because you're never going to get the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them every chance that I could. And you go 3 nights in a row and then you go home and you say like, oh, night 3, like I loved like this part of set 2, and like that is so different from the previous night. It's a living, breathing thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of fans of them on Setlist, and the notes that they put on the Setlist are just so detailed and so yeah.
Me and my friends will be in the concert, like updating setlist.fm, like to like see if anybody made a note of that weird jam that we were thinking. Like, did anybody else hear that? And like then we'll see a note pop up like 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
of
so
somebody.
detailed.
Yeah,
so detailed.
It's really awesome.
Awesome. Let's go to Dr. Dog.
Dr. Dog, Brooklyn Bowl, Nashville, 2021. Dr. Dog is...
It's a sick indie rock band.
Yeah, do you know the song where all the time go, starting to fly? We can keep going.
Yeah.
Sing the whole thing.
But
I won't do it
We'll have
justice.
to clear
But
the rights,
they're just a cool. I had discovered them only like a month before me and Chris went to the show together. I was at a festival called Rhythm and Roots in Bristol, and they were playing at one of the stages. I didn't know, like, I kind of just went to this festival because my brother was going with some of his friends. I tagged along. I didn't really know many of the artists playing, and I saw their set, and they just blew me away. It was like this weird mix of like indie rock with like the Beatles harmonies and really cool songwriting, and I was just really like, it was one of those really special moments where you accidentally find yourself at the right concert. And then I, like, after that, looked them up, found out they're on their like last tour ever, like, and they were coming to Nashville in a month, so I was like, I'm gonna go to that. But none of my friends knew who they were or anything. I had nobody to go to this concert to, and I met Chris at a jam session back in Nashville, and we started writing a song together, which was the first song we ever put out, Shooting Glances. And I had this concert coming up the next week, and I talked to Chris, and he was like the only person I'd ever met who also knew them, which I don't know. They're like a known band. I don't know why I didn't know anybody else.
It was a school we were at. I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
not a lot of indie
yeah
bands there. I don't know. I just didn't know.
They're not like very outward.
Yeah. So I really wanted to go to this concert, but I didn't. I don't just like going to concerts alone. So I was like, I said to Chris, like, why don't you just come over to my house? We can finish writing that song and go to this Dr. Dog concert.
Yeah. He shot me a text. So we had jammed and gone to this little like hangout, almost like a happy hour thing. We hung out there too, but like, you know, we like hadn't really like fully connected. We were just like, oh, this guy's cool. Like when you just meet someone randomly, and it's like, I'm sure we'll run into each other again. And he texted me, and I remember getting the text and being like, dude, like, good on him for reaching out, because like I would be afraid to do that with someone I just met, asking to go to a concert. And yeah, we went to his house and finished the song really fast. The song so fast. Yeah. We like finished the song and then got like a burger and then went to the show. And we're just like mesmerized at the show. But really like the reason it really kind of is like the catalyst of like Edgehill even existing was like having a reason to finish that song together and go to the show. And then once that song was finished, it's like, okay, let's make another one. And then I was like, let's make another one. And then it just started becoming a regular thing. But the show itself was so sick. It was at Brooklyn Bowl, which it was my first time at Brooklyn Bowl.
My first time too. Became one of my favorite venues.
Yeah, like it's like one of the coolest venues we've seen since. We've seen like MJ Lenderman there. We've seen
Pine Grove.
Yeah,
you missed the Pine Grove show.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about it. Dude. I got COVID and I missed the 2 Pine Grove shows, which sucks.
And then we've since played there, which is a crazy thing. It's our first concert ever together. The first time we like really hung out, and then like fast forward a couple of years and we were on stage.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was insane. But the set was so cool. I mean, the set was like there was just like a roughness I hadn't really seen in a band before. Like the vocals were super relaxed and like it was like psychedelic-y, and like Beatles-esque with like Americana and indie and like distortion, and it was just like a unique experience. I remember getting this really unsettling feeling, honestly, like listening to them, because I always really liked like really strong vocalists. Like I was saying, like I was all like pitch and everything, and I remember like hearing it and feeling like a little odd, but I loved it. Like I felt like a little uncomfortable.
Like a good discomfort.
Yeah.
Like this is new.
Yeah, exactly. It was like I can tell I'm really gonna like this. It was
What a live band too. They
yeah.
put on such a good set. Just extremely talented musicians. And
They have two
you can go to Dr. Dog's show and not know any song and have the time of your life. Like
Yeah. I also think they have a little bit of that like jammy element.
they
like,
do. They have some jam band in there.
Yeah.
For sure.
They change some stuff up.
Like you feel like as the show goes on, like you're not sure what's going to happen, that sort of thing.
Yeah, especially like within a song, like within like the way that they're like singing, or a transition between songs. Like yeah, it just felt like so natural. I guess didn't feel so planned like a lot of concerts do.
Did you say that was their last tour? Then?
Yeah.
I think they may have done a reunion since.
branded
but
as their last
It was
tour.
billed as their last tour.
Yeah. Yeah. They were making up their minds.
Yeah.
They did it and they're like, nah, we're gonna do more. Like,
Yeah. I actually like that. I like that when bands announce that like it's over, like, okay,
Got at least
We should
three
do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
every tour.
Or no, our
last
first
tour.
headlining tour. Be like this last one.
Last
one
first and
ever.
last.
Yeah.
Or like announcing on a tour in the middle of the tour in like a show in like
We're done.
Minneapolis. Like, this is it.
Just kidding.
We're playing tomorrow in Des Moines, Iowa. Like,
What was it like to play on that stage after you had?
It was such
It
a
was
full,
so
it was
surreal.
such a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Like maybe my favorite concert ever. I saw there, and or two favorite concerts ever was Pine Grove.
Yeah.
And I was mesmerized the whole time, and it felt like after I saw those shows, felt like such a hollow ground. Also, me and Aiden were both at those shows, but didn't know each other yet, and we were
Yeah.
standing
We were
right, next to each other. Like, found that out later, comparing our videos, and
Yeah.
we were like, "Hey, you're like 3 feet over from me." But it was like it felt like such hollowed ground after seeing that, and it was like me and Chris first hang out, and just like it really felt like it was where we were supposed to be right then, which was it was just really, it was a surreal moment.
it was also just like any show I had seen there. I've never seen a bad show there. It was always like a band that I loved or ended up loving. And like I would always look at the stage and be like, gosh, I like wonder what they're seeing right now. Like, like how do you get to that point and be like, this must feel insane for them. And walking out for the first time on that stage
You're
and
like, oh.
seeing Brooklyn Bowl from the stage perspective.
It's pretty crazy.
Was insane just because like it's
You're
such
like, I'm here. I did it.
yeah, exactly. It was like,
Like, oh, Evan stood right here.
yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
can-
I'm sure you guys are really busy coming up like with the album promo stuff, but are there any shows you plan to go to as fans?
Definitely the Gorge again.
My dead and co plan should cancel. Nothing on the books for me.
I kind of want to go to the Gorge this year.
You should.
Yeah.
It's even if like you aren't a huge fan of Dave and the music, just the experience is
Yeah.
so worth it.
Do you guys try to bring each other into your respective fandoms? Like,
Yeah.
come to the show.
Oh, definitely.
We'll be
Definitely.
converted.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Jake put me on Pine Grove, and I ended up loving Pine Grove. I almost went to a Dead & Co show with Jake, and I wish I did. But
Which one was I trying to get you to go to?
you were trying to get me to go to the Sphere, I think.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd been
those are
awesome.
cool shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tickets were mad expensive.
That would have been
Yeah.
a strange first experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost better you didn't see that as your first show.
Yeah. First and only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been a weird thing.
But I mean, also there's so many friends in Nashville who play.
Yeah,
First of all,
I
we
kinda
have so
look
many
forward
friends
to-
in general.
I look forward to being home and like going to those shows, like
Yeah.
just in our
Just
local
local
venues,
artists
like
there.
on the corner, because
Are you able to
There's
just
some of
roll
those.
up to shows like
Yeah.
every night? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to buy
there's
tickets.
one,
and
there's
go,
one
just
almost
check it out?
every night,
And it's some of like the best music you'll hear. It's so good, and everyone's like inspires each other, and it's like it's a great community there.
Yeah, it's like a scene just actively building. Every show you go to, you're like, that felt important for some
Yeah.
reason. Like, that's gonna have some.
And it's also
domino
like cool
effect.
that it seems like secluded, and you're like the only person or like a part of this community that no one else is really that aware of, and so it's like kind of special to be like, this is sick, but no one else is really seeing it.
Yeah,
Hopefully soon though,
yeah.
people will, because it's amazing.
Those shows are so fun too. Like, and so casual. So it's like when I think of shows now, like I honestly don't remember the last concert I like bought tickets to to go see like some band I listen to on Spotify, because there's so many bands in Nashville that I listen to that I can just pull up and just buy like a $15 ticket and walk in and like, yeah.
Well, it must be easier to do it spontaneously too, because like you don't know where you're gonna be, and
It's really hard to make plans.
Yeah,
It is hard.
as a touring band.
Yeah.
So what is next for you guys?
A lot of touring.
Yeah.
We're hitting the road for like 6 weeks after the album
And
release.
international in the summer.
International. we
That's a
we don't
joke
know
on
if that's
our
happening
manager.
yet. So if there's anyone out there internationally,
That
keep an eye out, but we have no idea what the hell is going on. So
It could happen.
it's gonna happen. Yeah.
No, we have tour for 6 weeks. We're going on. You guys, that was the biggest digression ever. Just something that's not happening. We have tour for 6 weeks. We're hitting the road. We're opening for our friends Winya, and they're a great band, and it's really awesome. We did like 10 or 15 shows with them this year, and some really fun guys, and it's been so fun hitting the road with them. So we're doing more with them, and then we're opening for Worry Club also, and sort of split between those. We're gonna be out for like 6 weeks straight.
Yeah, and we're playing a headline in New York, which is exciting.
oh, the baby's all right.
Yeah, like album release vibes, which
Cool.
I'm really, really stoked for. And then writing, really, we're working on some festivals and like stuff like that. So hopefully, just like we just keep getting booked, and then in the fall we want to do something that's a headline situation.
What's like your dream band to tour with that you think like if I toured with this band, we could steal all their fans?
Oh, I mean, a complete like dream would be like Radiohead
Yeah,
or
but no
something.
way we're
But
stealing
that's
Radiohead fans.
that'd be crazy and stupid.
They would be. I mean, they'd be so awesome to tour with.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I would love to tour with like. Really love to tour with like a lot of those like kind of like more like mid-sized artists right now. Like
Geese would be
Geese would be insane.
sick.
MJ Lenderman would be really cool.
Wednesday
would be so sick.
I feel like Cage. You guys would be a good opener for Cage. That
would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would
That'd
actually
be a good
really
fit.
really work. Yeah,
Mhm.
they were also one of the bands that my friend's dad was like, check
Play
them
them?
out. Yeah, and I loved them too. So that would be a sick thing.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, let's just.
Yeah.
If you know anybody,
Visualize it.
I don't, but
just hit up Cage, and I'll hit up the Elephant, and we'll be like good.
yeah, we'll get it together. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your memories with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's fun to talk about like this,
Your
like
fan
our own
stuff.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe someday someone will come in here and say you.
That would be sick.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.